UCF fans, this is Brian Smith bringing you another edition of the Daily Knight, and I am also the publisher at Inside the Knights on Fan Nation, powered by Sports Illustrated. And today is a very cool episode because we get to talk about one of my all-time favorite subjects, recruiting. Recruiting this time is a little bit different, though. With the commitments yesterday of the twins, Jakari and Damari Henderson from Sanford Seminole High School, this is a situation where UCF has finally kind of got over the top. They've had a few kids commit that were national recruits. Now they've added two more. This is a trend that is growing, and it needs to be discussed and what it means moving forward. So with that, a couple of things to get just out of the way from the preliminary perspective. UCF is at 15 commitments, 11 of which are from the state of Florida. That's a great number. I think that UCF is going to be in a situation where not really needing to go outside of Florida, but they'll pick and choose a few others. They're in a position now where they can be very selective in or out of the state, but they've got a little bit of mojo. And that's what this is really about, regardless if it's Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, wherever they get kids. There's always been a perception of UCF is not going to be a Power 5 school. If they are, they'd get killed. This recruiting that they're doing right now disproves everything that is regarded with that. Everything. UCF went head-to-head with national programs now throughout the entire course of this year. It's not like it's just with one kid. Keanis Thompson, okay, that's one. Nakai Martinez, okay, that's two. And it just kept building. Jordan McDonald could have played in the SEC. The twins, who I'll discuss momentarily, could have played in the SEC. It's over and over and over again. This is why UCF is on the rise. The Big 12 announcement certainly helped. But even before that, they were in on these kids and they were going after them, and they showed a great deal of interest. How can that end up being a long-term scenario? Just do what you're doing. No more explanation is really needed. It's working. It's not broke. Don't try and fix it. UCF is going straight forward. This is what we do, and it works. Gus Malzahn and his entire coaching staff, the administrative staff, they set forth a plan once they arrived in February and March, and they're executing that plan. Recruiting does not just happen overnight. It is a long-term grind. During his press conference on Monday, Coach Malzahn mentioned that they gave the guys off Saturday to players. They went in, they worked on some things in terms of structural with the team, plays and all that. But he also defined the fact that they worked on recruiting. That's what you have to do. Would you really want to work on recruiting on a Saturday? Or would you really, go hang out with your family and friends? Everybody knows the answer to that. But if you're going to win in college football, you have to spend less family time and more recruiting time. I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll probably say it 100,000 more. There's a reason college football coaches have high divorce rates. Recruiting is the answer to that. If you're good at your job, you're probably not great at family, at least in some capacity. It depends on what your perspective is, but you have a phone in your hand at all times, ready to call and text. That's how it works. This staff is doing it, and they're putting in time across the board, not just Florida, not just Georgia. They've got a Texas commitment. They're recruiting kids in other states. They're keeping their eyes open. Now, as we get into this, I'm going to kind of go over the twins a little bit and explain who they are and all that. But before I do, note the following. Schools like Ole Miss, Florida State, Florida, Alabama, Miami, etc., have recruited against UCF holistically this year and lost. Again, this is very important. It didn't used to be that way. They would rarely get those kids. Sometimes, but rarely. This trend is building. So, with that, here's the situation that UCF is in with the twins. You can never have enough defensive backs, ever. And it's kind of ironic that right after the situation that happened this weekend when the corners and the safeties took major leaps forward on Friday night against Memphis, and I just wrote about it on Inside the Knights. It's the lead story right now. UCF gets a commitment from not one but two big-time players. Again, they're twins from Seminole High School. They're 6'1", about $165. They can jump out of the gym. They're both great basketball players. They can play D1 hoops. And they're both kids that just love to grind. They don't care who they're playing. They're going to tell you they're going to kick your butt. They're going to go kick your butt. Then afterwards, they're going to tell you that they kicked your butt. Their second choice at the end was Miami, but based on some small talk I had with the Twins, I don't think it was really that close at the end. Their program is in disarray. They do a good job recruiting DBs right now. They've got Ed Reed down there. That kind of helps. He's one of the greatest players to ever play in the NFL, and he played at the U. And he's with that program now. But just because he played safety there doesn't mean kids are going to jump on a sinking ship. So that's a situation where UCF won out again against a major program. Can they do it every year? Absolutely. And as for the Twins, one plays corner, that would be Jakari, and one plays safety, that would be Damari. Since they were little, that's just the way they did it. And as they explained to me last night while I was at practice, that's kind of how they want to do it moving forward, with the caveat. Damari mentioned at some point after I figure out safety at the college level, he understands there is a major adjustment. He wants to be included in information about corner, about nickel, about playing any other hybrid position. But he wants to focus on his true passion, playing safety. Fair enough. UCF is getting players that are elite athletically. They could play at Alabama. No question. Not one of them, both of them. They're the same player. They could interchange position-wise. But having that kind of mental focus is why schools like Miami went after them. They had a bunch of SEC offers, ACC, etc. You're not going to get those kind of offers and get them early unless you can go out and prove that you can play like that. And then through conversations with the head coach, Coach Lodge, etc., these college coaches found out these guys are focused. They want to play, and they're going to do it the right way. They don't just play as athletes and play haphazardly. They go out and they make it happen. Technique, skill, drilling, they go through it. That program is, by the way, one of the best in Florida because he knows how to operate it. It's better coached than the vast majority of the schools in the state. With that, there is one other thing to consider. UCF now has Nakai Martinez from Apopka, ironically a rival program to Seminole. They got the two twins. They're in a situation now they can be really picky at a spot that most schools, Texas, USC, Notre Dame, whatever programs you want, are not in that position. Not, some of them are, but this recruiting class at DB is about as good as anybody, 1 through 3. Just take your 3 against ours. Athletically, it's fantastic. Excuse me. I just think that if they're selective, and this is where it gets convoluted, they could take another high school kid. Maybe it's a JUCO kid. Maybe it's a transfer to finish out the DB class. But again, you can never have enough. Which DB or DBs would they still get to bring in? I don't know. It's hard to say. Because of the transfer portal, I've kind of backed away in understanding what they're going to do. But with a corner and a safety coming in to add Nakai Martinez, a very good corner out of Apopka, they have flexibility. That's big-time recruiting, and that's why I labeled this show what I did. When you put yourself in a position to choose the situation moving forward instead of try to play catch-up, that's when your program has started to reach the big time. Moving into segment 2, here is the question for the viewership out there. How long will it be before UCF receives the respect they deserve for how they're recruiting? Like in December and then again in the beginning in February, you have signing day classes. When they're ranked in the top 25 potentially, again, it depends on how you want to rank them because they're going to take several transfers, so their class may or may not be ranked as high as it should. Will they receive the respect they deserve from fan bases around the country? My answer would be no, but again, it depends on how one grades. Because if you take 8-10 transfers, your high school numbers are not the same, and that's how these recruiting classes are based. And most fans just read headlines and they don't take the time to do anything. It's stupid, but that's what people do. How long will it be? A year, 2 years? Will these guys have to come out and kick butt before they do anything? Or is everybody just looking at it as a past tense only? We don't trust anything UCF. I think there's still a lot of that, but with the talent that I see on the field, looking down from the press box, as well as watching video and watching games on TV, it's changing. They have more skill than people think. Now, segment 2 will kind of answer some of that in a sense. Here's the key. If you look at the situation that UCF is in, again, 15 commitments. if they want, they could still take several developmental players to finish out this class. And that's fine. To a certain degree, the Henderson twins are that way because they're still learning and everything too. But when I say developmental, I mean guys that are raw. Adams, the kid they brought in this year out of Georgia, he played several positions in high school. He would be a developmental player, but he's just hit it. He's figured it out quickly, and he's going to be a big-time player, and he has an NFL upside if he continues to grow and progress. That's not the norm, though. Impact guys that walk in and they ball out, and they can start over other guys that are 4- and 5-star guys. That elite status, that's what I'm talking about. Anderson, the defensive end / outside linebacker for the Crimson Tide, walked into Alabama, started as a true freshman as the rush backer last year, and was all SEC. Even in, the sense of Alabama terms, that's rare. UCF, that's the last little thing they need to find. I'm not saying that they're going to do that tomorrow, but that is the end goal. There's no question. Gus Malzahn has said, we're going to win a national title here, and we're going to do it soon. To do that, that's the final piece. In the next 5 years, can they do that? Sure. With the transfer portal, with the ability to recruit in Florida, you have an exponential opportunity here. There's no limit to what you can do. Where they are now is mid-level. They're getting some of these guys, but they need to take it to the next. Once that happens, that's when I personally think that fans of other schools will see, okay, UCF's pretty darn good. Being officially a part of the Power Five is kind of the other caveat. Some people, it's just a dead set. They don't care what your record is or how many NFL. Did you or did you not play in the Power Five that year? You're not going to appease those people. So in a sense, the question is kind of haphazard in a way by me, but that's really more on them because you're not very open-minded, and to heck with those people. So watching and following UCF football, I know that it's changed a lot, but the final goal is to start getting a consistent level of players like the twins, Jakari and Amari Henderson. They can play for anybody. Getting consistently players like Nakai Martinez, Kianist, and just Miguel Maldonado is a developmental player. He's going to play early at UCF. They found a gem there. He's the steal of the class. Getting that kind of player consistently in every class, that's how you do things to get over the top. UCF is close, but now they need to finish out the class with that. And they also need to do one other thing. They need to make sure the transfers they bring in are in the same kind of vein. They're going to take some. I don't know how many, but they're going to take some. So with that, everybody have a great day. I'm going to be putting up some more information about the upcoming Temple game, information on offense and defense, kind of some of the matchups over the next few days before making my prediction on Friday morning for the final score of the game with a few highlights on what I expect to happen. You can check out all the information on the Twins and everything else going on with recruiting, Jordan McDonald, etc. at Inside the Knights. If you type it into Google or just look at the little address here at the bottom, you can find it. Once again, everybody have a great day, and thank you very much.